A very adorable baby is born in the starting of film. She named him Hercules. The people of that era used to worship their god named Zeus, and this baby has been shown as demigod, the son of Zeus. Contrarily, Zeus's wife, who is the queen, knows that this baby is flesh and blood of Zeus, and he belongs to humans. Here Hercules had little grown up. She wanted to kill him, so sends 2 serpents for this purpose. As being the son of Zeus, he was mighty like him. He ends both of the serpents before their attack. Now it is shown that Hercules has grown into maturity. The king of that state assigns the mission to him. Hercules was bold enough to cope with these assigned missions. So he begins to face these missions, one by one, to accomplish them. He grapples with a creature at the first and beats it. Afterwards, he also beats many other creatures while facing them. One day, he confronts a deadliest lion. No arrow shot was injuring it, but Hercules also ended it, using his strength. Then a location is shown where a boy was bound tightly by the people. He was the nephew of Hercules. Then Hercules arrives there. Killing everyone there, he rescues his nephew. Then Hercules is shown, sitting at a place. The daughter of another state's king approaches there. She says, "We need you. Our own men have double-crossed us. The war is on everywhere. As a result, people are being ended." A person says, "Sitting with Hercules, we have no time right now, but we can help you if you present a heavy amount." That princess says to them, "It is honorable to be a part of the battle." Hercules declares, "We need money for our weapons." That princess tells, "My father king is well off, who can provide you much gold." Being agreed, Hercules accompanies to her kingdom. There was a fixed big statue there which belongs to Zeus' wife. The princess tells Hercules it took 5 years of its making. Here no one was believing, as he is the son of Zeus. But Hercules was like legend for that princess' son. King explains to him, "Our closest companion has rebelled while deceiving, and the wars have been stated throughout the kingdom from that time. So we need your help to recover everything again." He also tells that person is not an ordinary one but a wizard, and no one can beat him except God. He also reveals that there is centaur in his soldiers. Now a girl asks who had come to Hercules' team, "Where are these creatures?" A king man replies, "Neither we witnessed them nor we know their dwelling. We have just heard about them." Now it is shown that Hercules and his fellows are training the king's army, because they had no warriors. Hercules asks them, "Stand straight exactly like a shield wall." Then one of Hercules' fellows moves to them while running, and he breaks their made shield wall, running towards it. Hercules says to them, "Too infirm shield wall. In this way, you will be defeated." Hercules is training the army here. It is revealed that oppositions are moving towards them for a war. Hercules asks them to avoid war, knowing it, because he says, "Nothing will remain left for us after the war." But the king of that state says, "There will be peace here as soon as possible, we end them." Now it is shown at night that princess' son comes to meet Hercules, who considered him his legend. He tells him, "I am your admirer. Growing old, I will be like you." It is shown that Hercules puts on his locket around that kid's neck, taking it off. He tells him, "I wanted to give it to my son. Now I am giving you." All were heading towards that place where they had to face opponent king. They witness on the way dismembered hanging heads of human beings. The king tells that opponent king had reached here before us. He killed the people of this place to create the fear among us. Hercules suggests, "We will go from here on foot," and all begin to walk. But Hercules observes that these are not recent murders, but many days ago. It was the conspiracy against them to divert their attention. Then they are surrounded by some of the tribespeople. Hercules is left shocked, and he thinks, "They are surrounded us even though we are defending them." Here it is revealed that opponent king used to empower these people's brains as being wizard. Here these tribespeople attack Hercules and his companions. There is a great battle among them. and Hercules faces them daringly, and he defeats all of them. Now the king of that place got upset, because all his soldiers were ended. Hercules says to him, I had already suggested to you that it is not the time of war. I had to train them yet. The king agrees with him, but it is seen that Hercules has started to live in depression, losing his sleep of nights. He has a nightmare that his family is no more, and he also dreams of the three-headed creature. Hercules, one of the fellows, tells, I conversed with a creature before coming here, who delivers the divine message to the human beings, and it also predicts the future. It told me about you that you will have to accomplish your imperfect mission. Being disturbed, Hercules does not give much attention to the said words. Hercules had a wife and 3 kids who were slain, and all blames were put over him. This was the cause that he was exiled. Anyhow, they reached the opponent king. It was appearing that Hercules' trainee army will be defeated, not battling perfectly. Fortunately, they win the battle. Now it is shown that opponent king moves to Hercules, so that he may end him. Immediately, Hercules suddenly enslaves him, falling down his horse. He presents him before king after enslaving him. That opponent king says, You have bound me for nothing. I did not destroy your state. Hercules asks, Who is responsible if you are not blameworthy? Opponent king says, Think. The king for whom you are battling, why is his army not with him if he is praiseworthy and mighty? And why is he feeling need of yours? That king is not righteous for whom you are battling. An occasion is celebrated at night where the king is crowned, because he had expanded his kingdom everywhere. Here the opponent king was also chained up. All were mocking him, but Princess does not feel good witnessing it. She takes pity on that opponent king. Hercules was observing all these happenings. He asks the princess, going towards her, Why is it like this? Why did you feel pity for him? You can disclose truth before me. She tells, My husband was the king of that state where he holds the seat of king. But my father seized the kingdom, poisoning my husband. And this captive king was the distinct man of my husband, so he turned against my father and the war breaks out. She tells, Opponent king is innocent, even he is not our rival. My father is guilty behind it. But I could not oppose my father because of my little son, who is under his supervision. She requests him, Take my son from here, and make him like you after training. Here the king's peculiar man comes and says to Hercules, King is calling you. Now Hercules moves to the king. The king says to him, I am very pleased that you make ordinary army victorious after teaching them the tact of wars. Behold, I am the king. That army will train others for war. And I will expand my kingdom throughout the world with the passage of the time. You are reason behind it. Will you be the distinct man of mine? Hercules refuses it. The king says, All right, whatever you want. All right, I award you gold and later you may leave. As being king, I don't need people like you at all. Now Hercules and his fellows leave, collecting their gold. Then he observes the villagers in his surroundings. They were looking dejected, because they did not want the departure of Hercules, because Hercules had taught them the ways of living. Hercules throws his pouch of gold, seeing them, and announces that I will stay here, because villagers need me. One of the fellows of Hercules says, What are you doing? We have received our gold, so we should leave from here. But the rest of Hercules' fellows throw their gold and prefer to stay with him except that fellow. He leaves from there, taking his gold. Now Hercules' fellows directly move to the king's chamber, but king's men surround them. Here Princess and her son are also present. Now the distinct man of king informs him that your daughter was requesting, Hercules, take my son with you. Hearing it, king lays hold of his daughter's son from her. Here king's man attacks Hercules, and he loses his consciousness. Restoring his senses, he finds himself heavily chained. Then the king of that state arrives where Hercules had grown up. Hercules participates in many battles for him while supporting him. But he also deceived here, making a commitment with this king that we will dominate the world together. He had also brought with him 3 black wolves, and their howling was similar as Hercules used to dream. He thinks, I used to hear the similar howling when my wife and kids died. It means that he was responsible behind it. Hercules asks them, what was the reason of doing so? And the king of the state where Hercules grew up says to Hercules, I was the king of state. Why were you renowned among the people because of your adventures and hardihood? I could not end you and also had no choice besides it. I alleged you so the natives start detesting you and attract towards me. Knowing it, Hercules is burst into anger, but he cannot move because of being chained. Here it is seen that King was planning to kill everyone one by one. At the first, he begins to kill his own daughter for this. Hercules is puzzled seeing it. His companions encourage him, saying, you can do it. What will be our end if you lose faith? Hearing it, Hercules is motivated and he breaks those chains, releasing himself. He instantly runs to the princess and rescues her. Now 3 wolves attack Hercules, moving towards him, but he finishes 3 of them amazingly. He releases his companions and the poor king who is being considered opponent by them. Now both wicked kings had fled from here. Somehow, Hercules captures that king in whose state he grew up. He stabs him into death, in the same way as he had killed his family. Afterwards, he goes towards the palace, taking his companions. He witnesses that King is standing there with his armed forces, while a king's man has pointed Princess Sun's neck with his dagger at one side. King commands to execute this kid. But Hercules' companion approaches there, who had left, taking the gold. He immediately shoots an arrow at the executioner of that kid. They save that little kid, but King's armed forces begin to attack them. Hercules also confronts them equally. Meantime, Hercules' companion meets his end as being wounded badly. Now the rest of the armed forces of that king were heading to them. But it is seen that Hercules' men had made a shield wall which was indestructible. Hercules notices a huge statue of Zeus' wife there. Hercules drops that statue down as King's armed forces are moving upward. Armed forces begin to retreat. Seeing it, the king says in rage, go and finish Hercules. But that statue drops down on him and King is crushed to death. And all armed forces of King and other people kneel down before Hercules, seeing his hardihood. People were still in doubt either he is the son of Zeus or not. But it was not important, he had held the rank above other people because he was vigorous and audacious. He used to take care of the people. So all people had started to admire Hercules, and the movie completes with it. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please share this video and subscribe this YouTube channel for more interesting videos.